Well, to the race for the White House now, where Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are crisscrossing battleground states north, south, east, and west as just 4 days remain before the election. Yesterday, both candidates were in the state of North Carolina, where at one point Clinton mocked an inner monologue of a sort that we heard, in fact, from Donald Trump just the night previous.
In 6 days, we are going to win the great state of Florida. And we are going to win the White House. Going to win it. It's feeling like it already, isn't it? Just, we've got to be nice and cool, nice and cool. Right? Stay on point, Donald, stay on point. No sidetracks, Donald. Nice and easy, nice.
This is someone who at another rally yesterday actually said out loud to himself, "Stay on point, Donald. Stay on point." His campaign probably put that in the teleprompter. Stay on point, Donald. Stay on point. You know, we have seen it over and over again. We know his true self. His instinct is to say whatever pops into his head, no matter how wrong he is. He can't help himself. So is this someone we want to put in charge of our military?
Fancy graphic time means they are back. Jake Sherman and Anna Palmer, co-authors of the Politico Playbook, joining me now to preview a race that is now under the 100-hour mark, 4 days out. Anna, let's start with you. It does seem like Clinton's final pitch to voters, certainly in recent days, has been a very aggressive anti-Trump message. It comes against the backdrop of some CBS polling that suggests, though, that 82% of registered voters are disgusted by the race in question. Only 13 find uplift where it can be found. What to make, then, of the negativity we're seeing here in the final stretch?
I think this is a continuation of what she's been doing most of the campaign, which is to make the argument that Donald Trump is dangerous, Donald Trump is bad for this country, and that then you should vote for her. I think they understand that, you know, this is in a race of popularity where she certainly has hit her ceiling in terms of how, you know, her unfavorables a long time ago. And so they just want people to go to the voters. It might not be the most uplifting message. It might not be the most encouraging message, but it is something that that they think is going to work to get people to the ballots.
Meanwhile, Jake, then on the other side of the race, we saw in Donald Trump a candidate appearing to at least talk himself into staying on message. But then we see a message delivered from the campaign itself today, a quote from campaign manager Kellyanne Conway, and I'm going to quote it. "The most joyless presidential candidate is running the nastiest, most substance-free campaign in final days. Even sadder, it comes from a woman." End quote. Curious message from a curious messenger. What to make of it?
I mean, I've stopped trying to make sense of their campaign strategy. This isn't exactly the, you know, shining city on the hill that Ronald Reagan talked about. I think, listen, I think that they are trying to make Hillary Clinton into the boogie woman, right? I mean, under FBI investigation, her orbit is a mess. But, like, here's the facts, Josh, and this is that we shouldn't forget these. Hillary Clinton is doing exceedingly well in early voting in Nevada, in North Carolina. Numbers in Florida are ticking up. It looks like in Pennsylvania she's about where she needs to be. New Hampshire's troubling for her. Colorado is close, but a poll out had her up 8 points. This race, if she wins, and I sound like a broken record, I know, because I keep saying this, but if she wins Nevada and wins Florida and wins North Carolina, it's good night, nurse. There's no path for Donald Trump. He can win Ohio, he can win New Hampshire. Like, I don't think, I actually think, and we wrote in Playbook this morning, and I know you read it, Josh, but I think it could be an early night on Tuesday if that's the case.
Okay, well, so then interestingly, and we heard from our Major Garrett today, meanwhile, back at the ranch, that folks in the Trump campaign feel like they can taste victory, that their candidate can smell it. And so it was an interesting moment to have Melania Trump in Pennsylvania, Jake, state, of course, that we all know he needs, deliver a message about an anti-bullying message, that if she becomes First Lady, that's going to be her pet project. Again, Anna, it seems a curious message from a curious messenger, and really something of a missed opportunity here for an electorate that's more than half female.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little ironic, right? Her husband, Donald Trump, has been like the biggest.
I think that's a little ironic. Yes, I do.
And also, if you
the biggest cyberbully probably of this entire cycle, if you were going to look at it. So maybe they need to do a little bit looking inside the campaign before they start having this message.
And Josh, if you polled the worries of the American people, I'm not sure, and maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure social media etiquette is among the top 2,000 issues that people care about. And in Pennsylvania, I mean, listen, maybe it's a problem. I get that, but I'm not sure your closing message from the potential next first lady is we need to be nicer to each other on Twitter.
I also think, I mean, part of it is I mean, she hasn't been out on the trail since her debacle at the Republican convention. This is kind of her first speech out there, and they basically were trying to win over women voters in Pennsylvania. It's hard to think that that is going to be the message that actually gets them excited enough to actually go out and vote.
You mentioned the convention, Anna, and Jake. It's if conventions are all about optics and thus surrogates who roll out during the 4 days, we're seeing let's roll the big guns back out. And so, to Hillary Clinton's point, President Obama, Vice President Biden, First Lady Michelle Obama, and yesterday Bernie Sanders, all on the stump of her in days recent. Now we're also seeing them joined by folks such as Pharrell and Jay-Z and Beyonce. The cumulative effect of all of it, do you think, is what?
I just think that more people that are making the message, I mean, star power works. They're able to cover more ground. I mean, Donald Trump doesn't have any member of Congress, prominent or not, really on the trail for him. Maybe he does, but no one that I mean, the two former Republican nominees are not, three, I guess, are not, four maybe even, are not campaigning for him. And we had in Playbook this morning that LeBron James of Akron, Ohio, is going to appear in Cleveland with Jay-Z and Beyonce and Hillary. So, I mean, Ohio is a state that is not on the map right now, that Donald Trump has a somewhat commanding lead. But if she could start pulling out votes in places like Cleveland and Akron and Cincinnati, I mean, maybe she puts it in play. I don't know.
Jake, I want to get you guys out of here on this one. And you tweeted like, "Hey, news coming." I would just say, by the way, when you tweet that news is on its way, just give us a little time frame so we know when to return to Twitter.
I like to keep it. I like the mystery to build.
And so there we are, staring at your Twitter feed, and so we finally got the news regarding House Speaker Paul Ryan. What do you have?
So Paul Ryan is campaigning with Mike Pence.
Yep.
Paul Ryan has been pretty clear that he is not really interested in doing much for the top of the ticket. He has said that Republicans should vote for Donald Trump, and he voted for Donald Trump, but he is campaigning with Mike Pence, the vice presidential nominee, in Wisconsin on Saturday. I head there on Sunday, so I'm going to miss it, but it's sure to be a very good time.
Anna, do you think, is he walking back his promise? I mean, isn't this effectively campaigning for Donald Trump at least once removed?
I think Mike Pence and Paul Ryan are close friends. They've known each other for a very long time. So I think that it probably has more to do with that than it has actually to do with his support of Donald Trump. But I definitely think that, what they're trying to do is he's trying to campaign, and he's also looking at whether or not he's going to be speaker or not. So I think he's hedging his bets a little bit.
I think so, too.
Well, it's just, it kind of gets me in deep inside that the next time we speak, we'll have a president-elect short of a contested result, which I guess is like a 50-50.
We're feeling that too, Josh, deep inside.
Politico Playbook co-authors Jake Sherman, Anna Palmer. As always, we appreciate the Friday time.
Thanks.
Thank you.